So when I got the news that she was still tormenting me on Facebook and on social media, I did some childish things and posted a video of her doing something to me, which was stupid. Hurt people hurt people. I just wanted to clarify that that was my person. I was with her for 3 years, and it was stupid. I admitted that I posted it when the cops called me. I admitted it to the cops, like, yeah, I posted a video of her giving me oral.
Yep, right there. Have a seat. Yeah.
All right.
I'll be with you momentarily.
Take your time. Ben Omar 223153.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Benjamin Omar 223153. He is serving a sentence of 5 years, executed suspended after serving 30 months, followed by 3 months probation for criminal possession of a firearm and disseminating an intimate image to one person. He is to register as a sex offender, but the term is unclear. This stems from a previous conviction. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of April 24th, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan to the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed Tier 2 and alternatives to violence basic. He was required to participate in the short track sex offender program, but refused. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the high range. Mr. Omar, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Yes, I just have a quick question. Did you say I had to register? I didn't get that part. I didn't understand that.
Yes, it said, well, from your previous conviction, it says that you were required to register as a sex offender, but it doesn't state how long. So normally it's 10 years or life, but it's not clear. So whether you're granted parole or not, once you get out, you will have to report to state police. The unit counsel will go over all that information with you, and they'll let you know, they'll give you the information where you'll have to register. And then when you go there, you can ask them how long is the registry for.
Is the register, are you sure, or is it for a gun offender? Because I was never told that I had to register. I know I was told that I had to register for a gun, for a weapon, but that's what I'm saying. Like, this is new information to me. So I'm thinking you probably reading it wrong, because I was never, the only thing I was told that I had to register was for a gun.
Double check again, so Mark, one moment.
Right, because I was never convicted for it.
Let me check. Give me one moment.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, just give me a moment.
Well, we'll give you some time to check that.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Omar, why don't you go ahead with your opening statement on why you think you're suitable for parole?
Okay. Like she stated, I have completed a few programs, and while I've been incarcerated, I also, if I would like to explain the dissemination situation, obviously it happened with me and my girl. I've been with her for 3 years. It was one of them, how can I say it? Hurt people. If you read the police report, she abused me. I was actually in a domestic violence shelter. She exposed me to social media as well. That was she basically did a lot of things. She pulled a knife out on me, hit me in my head with a liquor bottle. So when I got the news that she was still tormenting me on Facebook and on social media, I did some childish things and posted a video of her doing something to me, which was stupid. Hurt people hurt people. I just wanted to clarify that that was my person. I was with her for 3 years, and it was stupid. I admitted that I posted it when the cops called me. I admitted it to the cops, like, yeah, I posted a video of her giving me oral sex. I was you know, if you read the report, you will see that she was arrested first for what she was doing to me. And like I said, I was placed out in Danielson in a domestic violence shelter because it was that brutal. You know, what she was doing to me was really brutal. And, you know, she bleached all my clothes, she broke my car, you know what I'm saying? So then, like I said, once I got the last straw with people telling me, hey, she's posting stuff with you, you know, doing stuff to her sexually on her page, you know, I just lashed out like an idiot, you know, like a young boy. I was stupid, you know, it was personal. And I have never done anything to nobody's kid, to nobody's person, to no woman. I'm a parent. So when they asked me to take that program for what I did, I'm like, wait, I can't sit around, you know, sex offenders. I haven't raped nobody, never in my life. I haven't touched no woman that don't need to be touched. I never touched nobody's kid in my whole life. That's why I jumped immediately to when she said you got to register. I'm like, wait, no, that can't be it. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's not.
Okay, so you've done a few things for us, right? We were going to ask you about we're going to ask you about your offenses. So you already talked about putting the video out there. Right. And, you know, we were going to ask you why you refused to take the sex offender treatment program, and you've already explained that. So we appreciate that. But really what I want to hear from you is why you think you're suitable to be back in the community. Why did we think that you're going to go out there and not commit another offense and be cooperative with parole and do all the things that you should do?
First and foremost, I am a hard worker. I work 2 jobs. I go to school. There's a note there from my aunt. She'll tell you. I'm probably one of the hardest workers ever. If I don't find a job within 2 days, I'll find it in 3. I mean, I don't give up. I'm here also looking online. There's an app that they got on our tablet called Honest Jobs. I live on it. I don't got time for games. When I go home, purpose is my new relationship. If it ain't got purpose, I'm not chasing it. So I want to work first, work second, and work third. And you know, I'm going to follow the rules and regulations. I also was talking to Miss Logan about I had a couple of trauma that I need to speak to people, you know, so I'm gonna come out of my shell and try to find someone that I can speak to far as in mental health, you know, from some stuff that happened to me when I was a child that I shared with her. My mom is getting very old, you know, like I told Ms. Logan a while ago, she fell, broke 5 of her ribs. So I'm kind of more concerned I don't want to be here if anything ever happened to my mom, I lose my mind because I'm too focused on the wrong things.
Okay, so we're going to be asking you some questions. I don't want to interrupt you, but I feel like you're starting to spin in a different direction, right? No, it's quite all right. So I'm going to kind of bring you back in. I'm going to start with some questions. All of us will have an opportunity to ask, and then we'll make a decision about your parole, okay?
Okay.
And it's been determined that you are not on the sex offender registry, so that is not required. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, but let's back up to your charges. So you have this firearm charge. Were you on probation when you got arrested?
I was on special parole.
Okay. So you were on special parole and you got arrested for having a firearm. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I took a picture with it, but again, there's evidence that it was in my aunt's room. It was registered to my aunt. She was my sponsor. Okay. I knew better. I shouldn't have been here, but the gun was hers. It was in the house, in her room, when they got the gun.
And you probably shouldn't have been living there if there was a gun in the house, right?
I knew that I had full responsibility.
Then why would you take your picture with it?
Again, childish. Being just stupid. Like, there's no other explanation than I was just being stupid and not even thinking proper. I was working 2 jobs. I was going to post. There was no reason for me to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to let you use that word, but I wouldn't disagree with it.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Just very nonsensical. You were on special parole. How is special parole going?
Special parole, I was I was doing great. Like I said, all I did was work and go to school. My parole officer never had a problem with me. I never, there was never no issue. Like I said, the childish thing was taking a picture, and that blew my whole, that was just stupid. And I think about it, believe it or not, it haunts me to this day. You know what I'm saying? It really bothers me.
You're in jail.
When I say it, when I tell you it bothers me to the core, because like I said, I was elevating to a degree where I knew that, like, I should have, I was already in the process of saying, all right, let me just go ahead and get my own place, because I had saved up enough money from working. And plus the PUA had gave me, some money to play with. So I was like, well, let me just go ahead, because I know I have no reason of being here, and I know that this firearm is here. Even though it was secure in her room or whatever the case was.
But it wasn't secure, though.
Right, it was
the whole thing.
It was under her bed, right.
Yeah,
I should have never went and took no picture with that.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have been in the house with it.
Right.
And I feel like parole is probably really great about getting into the nitty gritty detail of why you can't be around a firearm.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you refused to take the sex offender treatment program. I heard your explanation for it. I will tell you, it's required. It may be required once you're out on supervision, whether it's probation or parole.
Right.
And I will say that many people take it that deny that they do certain things, and they still learn from it, right? You learn about yourself, you learn about relationships, you learn about why you don't put yourself in certain situations and how different things affect. So there's always something to learn. You're a student, there's always something to learn. That's
why I took the initiative to take the AVP program. I didn't want to seem like, it was just hard for me to swallow that word, sex offender class and all that. Like I said, I'm, people who do malicious things to people. Like I've been a parent before I was a parent. I've been a stepdad before I was a parent. So when I heard I got to interact with that, I felt some type of way. And I understand. I'm willing to do whatever program that I need to do in the community to, I'll be lying to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're going to need to, regardless whether you're on parole or probation going forward, it's in your best interest to do what you're asked to do.
No, mandatory.
You can always learn. You did the Tier 2 program as well, I see, and you, as you mentioned earlier, did the alternative to violence program.
Right.
You've been on community supervision a number of times. You've got 10 failures and 2 successes. So you were able to finish. You got these recent violation probations where they terminated your probation.
Yes.
Why do you think you can't seem to finish the supervision successfully?
Well, personally, like I was saying to Ms. Logan, I just realized I had a lot of trauma. Like just growing up trying to fit in and trying to figure it out, and a lot of stuff happened when I was younger. I can't blame the age. I just got to blame my mindset. My mindset now is I'm how did I get here? I'm at that point now where I don't see none of that. I'm just trying to see my future. I messed up a lot of my life. And a lot of times it has something to do with some type of relationship. That's why I say purpose is my new relationship. I'm no longer trying to find myself to go out and take care of someone else. I need to take care of me. I need to make sure I am who I need to be today. Like I got gray hairs from just stressing and this, and it's sad. It really is sad. And to hear this stuff is even worse because I don't feel comfortable being that person anymore. I'm 47 years old and I have nothing to show for it. That's sad. I don't own nothing. It's like I gotta go home and start all over again. That's probably the most prison mindset ever. You know what I'm saying? Like to be able to say, all right, I had this, and this, now I have nothing. I gotta go out and start from ground zero again. I don't want to do that no more.
Well, I can see the frustration that you have over that. For somebody that was working a full-time job as a machine operator and working part-time at Home Depot, I would say that you have a good work ethic, that you know how to keep a job. You had the one disciplinary report this time, which is a huge improvement from the 56 that you've had over the years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the difference?
Like I said, I'm starting to pace myself. I read this book. It's called 3 Seconds, The Power of Thinking Twice. I'm starting to utilize that into my daily life. I'm starting to just stop and think, what is this really about? What I'm about to get out of this? Who's going to be affected by this? And 9 times out of 10 is going to be me. Because I have that type of record, because I have that type of past, I don't have room for mistakes. There's no more chances. There's no more mistakes. I don't have that in me no more. I don't have another 2-3 year to sit inside these walls and figure it out. This is it. This is it. It's what they say, it's either now or never, or just forget it. I'm not dying. My mother's about to be 80 years old. I can count on one hand how many times I've been home to her birthday. You understand? And that's my biggest supporter. And that's also my trauma. So I need to fix something. And then I wonder why I'm in a situation of lack of love, because I'm not giving myself room to be home long enough to get love, to show love, to receive love properly.
I would say even at the age of 47, you're never too late to learn, right? Never too late to kind of figure things out. So you want to go back to school, you want to start your own business. I don't have any doubt that you can't find a job. I think your decision-making leaves a little to be desired, but I do hear some growth. I do hear some insight. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, I'm all done with my questions. Ms. Chance?
Well, Mr. Amar, I just wanted to follow up, on a few things. And I know, you refused to take the sex offender program, and I'm thinking that maybe you don't understand, but throughout your period of criminal behavior, you have had inappropriate sexual behaviors, and that's the reason why you were asked to take it. And despite, it started in, I think maybe, let me go back to February 2013, where you had an infraction for public indecency, and you had in August, you had the sexual misconduct, for touching your girlfriend in the visiting room. And then in December of that same year, you were in possession of sexual material, which you stated was a picture of your girlfriend with her clothes missing. So all of those things are the reasons why they would like you to complete the sex offender program. And it's important for your own benefit.
Right.
And as the chair said, you could learn some things about yourself. So knowing that you did all these things, now you may realize the importance and significance of you taking those programs. And when they did the risk assessment for you, they did take into consideration your trauma that you experienced.
Right.
Next time you go, you might want to expand on that.
Right.
And give some more information.
Right.
And have you figured out why you didn't do well on those 10 previous failed community releases?
I figured out that I kind of didn't, as you put it, and have to be honest, I didn't accept the help that I needed, probably. So I would say, thinking that I could do it on my own, I needed to talk to somebody. I need to dig deeper into the root of things and see, all right, hey, what's really stirring up inside of me to make me just have the, and I excuse my friends, the fuck it's, or whatever the case may be, because technically I'm not out just trying to find myself in prison, right? So, and to elaborate, yeah, you know, I seen it one side. I seen it, and then maybe that's and maybe that's wrong on me, because you know, when we in our trauma, we always think what we think is right, right? So maybe when I said, "But that's my girl," you know, I didn't touch somebody else's girl. I touched my girl. You know, there were pictures of my girl, so I made excuses.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So, Ms. Tomar, I want to point out one more thing to you. You know, when you're appearing before the board, I personally don't think it's appropriate for you to use that kind of language. So next time you're, you know,
I'm sorry.
thinking about, and I accept your apology. I just wanted to point it out to you. But I do hope that that program will, you know, help you to figure out, number one, you know, why you're failing in your own mind, why you refuse to take the program that was recommended. Because, you know, DOC does a great job of evaluating people. And if they recommend someone for something, there's a reason.
Right. And I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to offend you.
All right. I'm all set. Thank you for sharing. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Chance.
I'm all set. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So, Mr. Omar, now we'll discuss deliberate about your case. So, Mr. Omar is here on two very serious charges. He provided his version of what was going on, right, wrong, or otherwise. He's before us today, serving a sentence of 30 months with 3 years of probation. He scores high for risk to recidivate. He's got a considerable record. He maxed out on his special parole. To his credit, he did complete the Tier 2 program. He did complete the alternative violence program. He's had the one disciplinary report, which is a significant improvement over his history. He was working in the community, had steady employment. I think the discussion that was had today, I do believe that Mr. Omar has some insight into his own behaviors. I think he has some greater insight into the requirements of the programming that's on his OAP. I'd be willing to give him an opportunity in the community. He can, as it's been stated to him, he can do the problem sexual behavior treatment in the community, as well as some mental health. I think that he's certainly employable based on what we have previously. I recognize his risk score and some of the issues that he's had, but I would like to see him benefit from being on parole for a while. Ms. Chance?
You know, I did hear some change in Mr. today. It was very different than what I read about him. I read some document that said the weapon belonged to his aunt and not him. I don't know. But it is it was concerning to me. He has an extensive criminal history and has failed so many times. And I hear today that he has gained a little bit of insight. Okay. Still up in the
You're still on the fence. And Member Page?
Mr. Omar, I just want to ask you one question. You have a protective order that expires in
When it said,
2070 with AT. You know who AT is?
Yeah.
Is that the news personality?
Yes.
Why?
All right, so we were Facebook friends and it got messy.
Okay.
In a nutshell,
Wow.
I wasn't supposed to talk to her.
Okay. So as you mentioned, Madam Chair, this young man was on special parole when he committed this offense and expired on August 3rd, 2022. It's also my understanding that he was on probation.
yeah,
And he comes back with these new charges. I'm happy to see that he's participated in programs. But I really believe that Mr. Omar still is of the opinion that he can do things his way. And if I may reference, he was previously on parole. Outside, well, one time he was on probation, only under supervision for about 2 months before he started his probation. And then he was voted to parole in 2016 and had 24 misconducts, 4 dirty yards, and 4 parole violations. And finally went out from December 2020 to August 3rd on that special parole that he violated. So
yeah, he actually was discharged for special parole in 2017. And then in 2019, he returned again from charges.
right, and he didn't go back out until December.
Yeah.
And then, so for me, it's a no. I just don't
Okay.
think he's a good risk.
Ms. Janice, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so I'll go on the minority and your reasons for denial.
This poor performance, community supervision, as you referenced, is 10 failed attempts.
Okay, anything else?
If I'm right.
Okay, so in the matter of Benjamin Omar 223153, there's a motion to deny parole for the following reasons: nature and circumstance, current offense, poor performance while on community release. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Aye. All right, Mr. Omar, you have to finish out your sentence. I would suggest that maybe you try and do some more programming to put you in the best possible chance for success as you release. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
You know, it's interesting because when he starts off and he's explaining how what he did to get locked up, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I kind of feel bad for him. He shouldn't be someone that has to take the same programs with the people that we see, right? I mean, we've seen the worst of the worst. And it probably should be 2 different categories. But then Miss Chance comes in there and says, well, you do have that one time when you had the indecent exposure. And then it was so interesting as she brings it up. She's like, and the one time your visitor came, or was she sent pictures when she wasn't wearing her clothing, or how did she word it? Just in such an innocent way. And look, you know, who the hell, when they're on special parole, takes a picture of themselves with a gun? I mean, everyone knows the parole officers are looking at your, like, it's like he's acting like a child, and he's not a child. He's just, it's just the maturity level. Now his maximum date is 7/25/2025. He got 2 years, 6 months for this. They're just like, come on. They're basically like, enough is enough. And I don't have information on this case. I have, let's see, Sir Richard 2019. He's sentenced. That was for this April 22nd. He has a reckless endangerment, violation of probation. I mean, it's like at a certain point, you got to stop acting like a child. Arrested 2/28/2023 for harassment, 2nd degree, also for stalking. There it is, public indecency, 2/6/2020. Arrested 3/18/2022, criminal possession, ammo and weapon. I have nothing else to add. It is one of those hearings where you're just like watching it and you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take a program either, but then the truth comes out. And of course, he's the victim in all of this. You know, she's the one that's attacking him, and he's in the shelter. And I don't know. I have no idea. What am I supposed to say? I'm at a loss of words. I think I'll just jump into the next hearing really for this one. So yeah, let's go.
Xavier Flores, 396-400.
Hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Xavier Flores, inmate number 396-400. He is serving a sentence of 12 years, execution suspended after 4 years, followed by 5 years probation for 3 counts sale of narcotic substance. As of today, record reflect the parole failure date of April 20th, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed, shows the offender has completed the following programs. None. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT fell within high range of risk of recidivism. So this is your opportunity to express the report. You may begin.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. It was distorted on my end.
Sorry, you can tell us why you think you deserve parole, sir.
I've been incarcerated for the past 2 years, and I was fighting other serious charges, and I feel like I've come to the conclusion with my mistake. And after going to NA and stuff, I realized that I was hurting more than just myself by being an addict and supporting other people's habits to support mine. And I just feel that my time has been a life lesson that I would not, to tell you the truth, happen again. And I just want to see my family again. You know, I haven't seen my family in over 3 years. Through video visits, I just want to get that emotional feeling and touch again with them.
I get it.
And
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
and you know, I just want to go and continue my education, continue my religious services. I've been going to church for the past 2 years. I've only missed probably like 3 services due to court appointments. You know, I've learned Arabic in my time that I've been here. You know, I've learned how to cope with my anger, and I've learned a lot from more experienced inmates on how to try to look for help instead of looking for other people's acceptance.
That's a grown-up thing. So, Mr. Flores, we appreciate your opening statement, and we're going to ask you some questions. When we're done with the questions, we will deliberate and give you our decision, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, and I thank you for your patience while we took that brief recess. So, Mr. Flores, do you understand you have the highest drug score that DOC has? You have a 5, which means you have a serious issue with substances. Do you know that?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Because on my paper it says a 3.
Did I write the wrong number?
No, I have
I
5.
have 5 as well.
Okay, I probably have an outdated one then. Sorry.
So,
It's fine.
thank you. So, for us to come before the parole board and not have participated in any kind of addiction services programming with that kind of a drug score really does, it really doesn't jive well with us, because we need to see that you've addressed it somehow. Do you do NA or AA?
Yes, I do. I do NA every Wednesday at 6:30.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
I just recently got here on the 19th, so this is my 3rd session.
So what were you doing before that?
I was actually fighting manslaughter charges at McDougal.
Okay. So you weren't
I-
doing NA while you were there?
You had to be sentenced in order to do any groups over there.
Right. I do see that you just recently were sentenced. And so tell me what this ticket is about in June for security tampering and interfering.
So I was using the restroom, and as I told the parole officer, I had a cover because there was a female on the block, so I had it covered enough so that she could look in and see that everything was okay.
but the person that I was roomed with was being very belligerent and obscene to her. So I was telling her, if you give me a moment, I can get up and take it off, but I don't want to get up while I have fecal matter still on me. So when I got up, I wiped myself, I got up, I took the blind down, and she said, okay, thank you. But the control had already called for the lieutenant. And prior to that afternoon, 3 of the inmates that I was in the same dormitory with had went into the center corridor and had a altercation with another inmate from the other side. So tensions was high. So when he came in, he said, who was it? And I was already at the door. And I was like, I was using the bathroom and I had it covered. And he's like, okay, so you're gonna go to SEG? And I'm like, that's understandable. But why is it that when you walk by and other people have it, you pick and choose the day? And he just said, it doesn't matter. You were acting belligerent and this thing.
Well, you
And
said that that was your cellmate, but you know what the rules are, and you know that the rules, one of the
Yes,
rules,
yes.
you're not supposed to have it covered. So he rightfully so gave you a ticket. And whoever decides if they want to do the paperwork does it, and who doesn't, they don't. So
Yes.
that's what it is. A rule is a rule.
Yes.
It's not the lieutenant's fault. It's
No,
your
no,
fault.
I understand that. I understand that.
All right, so that's one thing. So now let's talk about your 2 failed attempts out in the community. So, excuse me, I see that you had 2 violations of probations, one in 2013 and one in 2015. Why weren't you able to comply with probation?
2 violations. I only had one in 2012. I went to
Go ahead.
or 2012 because I went, or 2013 if I'm not mistaken, because
That's what I just said.
I was going to my probations at all times, and I never went.
You know you violate your probation when you get new charges. Do you know that?
No, I understand that, but
So if you show up for court, if they give you a court date and you don't show up for the date, you get a failure to.
The failure to appear, yes, that, yeah. And I paid a $2,000 fine for that one. And
But why don't you go to court? Like, I don't understand the like. So this is how it looks to us.
no, I understand.
It looks as if you've been out in the community and you weren't able to complete your probation successfully. You have this disciplinary infraction for not following the rules. You have a high drug score with no programs that you've completed. And then you rate out in terms of risk to recidivate as a high risk. So that means that 9 times out of 10, you'll be back either for another sales or another violation or another something, because right now you're struggling with following the rules. So I appreciate what it is that you're trying to say. And I also appreciate the fact that you're accepting responsibility for your actions. I just don't think that there's enough here in your favor to support saying, yes, let's give them a chance at discretionary parole. There isn't. You have your tickets, you have your no programs, you have your failed attempts out there. I'm just repeating myself at this point, but I want you to understand what it is that I'm saying to you, that there's not enough here to say that Mr. Flores is a good risk. So for me, I'm not going to support your request today. Okay? Mr. Rodriguez.
Madam Chair, thank you. I don't really have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. I agree with what you had said, Madam Chair, because those are the reasons I have.
Okay. So with regard to Xavier Flores 396400, there's a motion to deny your request for discretionary parole based on your lack of program participation and inadequate evidence of offender change in the nature and circumstance of your convictions. Is there anything else? Yeah. All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Flores, you'll receive this in writing. We had several reasons that we could have added to our list of denials, but we just chose two. So I appreciate your coming down today, and you do have probation to follow your sentence, so I hope that you are successful there. All right, good luck to you, sir. Good luck, Mr. Flores.
This concludes the hearing for Xavier Flores, and number 396.
A Norwalk man gets 4 years in prison. Xavier Flores pled guilty to selling fentanyl-laced cocaine that killed 3. The overdose deaths happened in April of 2020 on Stanford's East Side.
Right. And clearly no one on this board thought to bring up all those people that he killed because of selling that. It blows my mind. How do you completely ignore that fact? Did the parole board not know? And you want to bring insult to injury. It's that he was only sentenced. This video came up. He was sentenced 2 months before his parole hearing. So you want to think about that. The victims literally would have just finished giving their victim impact statements April 2nd, 2024. They would have just completed giving their victim impact statements 2 months ago when they would have gotten notified about this man's parole hearing. If you can even imagine an insult to injury, if that's even possible. And that's because he was sitting in jail and he was on bond or whatever. But come on. You know, the DA's dropped the charges. He killed 3 people. 3 people dead. I think none of us, most of us, have no empathy, sympathy, if that's the word, for people who sell laced narcotics with fentanyl. We all know someone that's died from that. Sick. He didn't mention anything. Oh, I did my blush. What were the words that he said? He said helping or sustaining their habit to sustain my habit. Was that what? Well, let me read to you. Thank you, Sir Richard, for the information. When Sir Richard put in the notes that he killed 3 people and he's up for parole 2 months after sentencing, I'm like, what? So this is written April 21st, 2022. After what was described as an intense 21-month investigation, police said 38-year-old man was arrested on Wednesday and charged in connection with the triple fatal overdose in Stanford on July 2020. So they do a intense 21-month investigation, which then the DA apparently just drops the charges, right? The deaths were caused by fentanyl-laced Pepsi, police noted. The Stanford Police Department announced that he was charged with 3 counts of first-degree. That's what he's charged with: 3 counts of first-degree manslaughter and a single count of sales of narcotics. And they just do the plea deal for 3 counts of sale of narcotics. After a brief struggle during his arrest in Phillip Street, Norwalk, Wednesday afternoon, Flores was taken to Stanford Police Department and asked to cooperate in the booking process. According to Captain Richards Franklin of SPD, Flores refused and said, "I have 40 years to do that." Little did he know that he'd be up for parole pretty much right away and facing, what was his total sentence? He knew 40 years. Like, of course, right? He killed 3 people. But no, what's his full sentence? His full sentence is, what was it again? It was 4 years. Maximum 4 years, mind you. His maximum release date is April 20th, 2026. April 20th. Irony in that. And Flores was additionally charged with failure to comply with fingerprinting and booking a photo. Altogether, he was given a bond of $4,500,000. So, you know, the police take it seriously, but for whatever reason, they felt they didn't have enough to win. And remember, they like winning. They like their winning percentages. They don't like justice. The DA's office. On July 16, 2020, at approximately 9:13 a.m., Stanford police responded to a report of 3 unresponsive occupants in a blue Toyota RAV4. Firefighters and medics used multiple doses of Narcan and the medicine that rapidly reverses the effect of narcotic overdose, but 2 occupants were pronounced dead at the scene, police said. The 3rd occupant was taken to the hospital where he later died. During the subsequent investigation, the SPD Narcotics and Organized Crime Unit worked with enforcement agencies, State's Attorney's Office, and the Norfolk Police. Imagine how much it cost. What their 16-month investigation cost. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars. Undercover officers used different techniques such as purchasing fentanyl to develop arrest warrants for Flores. Flores was tracked to a residence on Phillip Street in Norwalk. Coughlin said several days of surveillance with the Norwalk Police Department. Flores was taken into custody after he was seen leaving the home around 4:30 p.m. In a news release Thursday, Coughlin thanked various agencies involving the investigation. Narcotics and Organized Crime Unit led investigators Michael, Connor, Canning, and blah, 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 also deserve special recognition for the countless hours and hard work and hundreds of thousands, now I'm just making that up, of taxpayer dollars. This case illustrates the danger of fentanyl. Its use responsible for the majority of our overdoses, both fatal and non-fatal. The victims were in the belief that they were purchasing Pepsi. And all of that, I just realized I wasn't even in the big screen. I hate doing this. Sorry. What can I do? What a mockery of everything. A mockery. 3 people dead. They invest all this resources, money, and everything. And then for some reason they're like, yeah, I don't know if we can get him. I mean, a jury might not convict him of the manslaughter charges. So let's just give him 4 years. Parole eligibility 3 months after the judge handing down the sentence. That is weak. And what it comes down to, if you're wondering how is that possible, again, it's because the DAs, this is not me making this up, this is what I've seen DAs say and other people say on other YouTube channels and blah, 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 is that, remember, the DAs, when it comes out, they're elected. And people are very, we're sheeple, we don't really do research into our DAs, and I'm guilty of it too. And, local DAs. And so what's the easiest thing for a DA to do? A DA will if they have any type of competitive environment, would just like to say the very simple thing. I have won 100% of my cases. I've won 99.99% of my cases. That's a simple thing for us sheeple to wrap our minds around. Wow, that DA must be very good. But what does that, and that's it. It's that simple. Now, what's it really mean? It means that they drop any case that they think they can't win. This case, maybe a jury would say, well, he didn't know it was laced. Maybe, there's a bigger dealer's fault. They're going after it. He thought maybe if his chance of winning it are not high, he'll drop it. Forget the victims. I mean, and the victims weren't here. They say no Now, do you think that the victims weren't here because they just chose not to be there? I mean, assuming they each have there's 6 parents, siblings, brothers, anyone who would, children, anyone who might want to have opposition. No, these people, they had nobody. All 3 of them, no one cared to oppose. Or maybe they weren't notified. Maybe they were just exhausted, but I doubt it, from having to give their victim impact. Their victim impact statements from the sentencing hadn't even dried yet, and the guy's up for a parole hearing. But that's how it works. And there you have it. It's just a mockery. And with that, I'll let you go.
To 2013, where you had an infraction for public indecency, and you had in August, you had the sexual misconduct, for touching your girlfriend in the visiting room. And then in December of that same year, you were in possession of sexual material, which you stated was picture of your girlfriend with her clothes missing. So